tourism plays a bigger role. It's the main financial driver, certainly in our town and a lot of the other small towns in Western Queensland. The rural industries like cattle and sheep, they play a big role, but as the years go on and the cattle industry changes, they need less and less people to look after cattle. A lot of these towns depend on the tourist dollar and visitors coming to the town.
To the Longreach community and probably the greater outback, it's vitally important. We live in a very sort of arid environment, and with that comes the challenges of drought that we've seen for the last 4 years. So in terms of the historical significance of the businesses out here, it's all been about agriculture for many, many years. And over the last 30 years, there's been a very slow but steady climb into tourism. And it really came to the fore in probably the last two, when there was no agricultural revenue really of any standing coming in. So tourism kept the towns alive, and it really is that simple. There's towns all dotted throughout this area that simply wouldn't still be there had tourists not come. So, you know, I don't think it could be any more important than where we're at the moment.
Oh, look, I think tourism is absolutely vital to communities such as ours. Given our geographic location, you know, small, rural, and remote towns, it's often a town's insurance policy, if you like, for want of a better description. Certainly when you go through areas and periods of drought, which our region's just recently done, and so we're just potentially coming out of a 4-year drought. But industries like tourism, so I use that analogy, insurance policy, because unlike the rain, tens of thousands of tourists are guaranteed to come visit regions like ours and sustain regions like ours economically as well.
We're seen as, we've always been on the way to somewhere else, yeah? And we've slowly developed all of this product around, so we're actually starting to now be viewed as a destination, which is a massive step forward in terms of tourism here. We've all worked really, really hard on that, so we're all invested heavily in it, and therefore we all gain from it.
We've had this feeling that maybe the tourism industry is a bigger part of our community than we think, so we will measure that and we'll commission research to come up with facts and figures that will help us make decisions in the future.
So that's been a really exciting part for us, that we've developed into a destination, or we're almost there. You know, we're 4 days now as opposed to coming through for a day and a half. With that comes the challenges of, you know, access, being remote, 1,400 k's from the closest capital city, expensive airfares, challenging. We're over-reliance on a particular drive market. So, you know, the work's being done now and has been for the last 5 years as to how do we break the back of that, and that requires, you know, some pretty heavy discussions with airlines to say, you know, look, I can go to Melbourne from Brisbane for $89. But you're charging my people $500 to come out here. How am I going to grow that side of the market? Grow that side of the market, we build more hotels, we employ more people. So whilst we are somewhat in a silo out here because of our destination, we are intrinsically linked to what goes on in the city and the reliance on getting that kicking.
Tourism is a growing industry, especially out here. On the coast, it's growing and it's still growing, but out here it's about to take off, and it's been little, but it's still there's still a lot of people travel through these little towns, and we get a lot of really good people come through, and the industry is just about to take off. It's a booming industry about to happen, you know.
One of the issues and challenges we always face in rural, remote areas is seasonality. Our peak times are through the winter months because of it's absolutely beautiful out here. Our daytimes are around 25 degrees with the evenings sitting around 6 degrees, whereas our summer, you know, we can experience 40 to 46 degrees. But to try and extend our season into what we call those shoulder months, either side of those peaks, is always a challenge. So things we're doing in local government is to work with the tourism industry and other businesses to grow those shoulder months, and we're doing that through creating events. Events are very, very important because they can bring a whole different market to town, so in terms of a different customer. So whether it's music, Bronco branding, comedy, jazz festivals, wine, food tourism. It helps us tap into different markets and different attractions. So if we position those correctly towards either side of our peak, it starts to extend that tourism season. It creates longer employment for businesses like ours and other businesses, and ultimately makes for a much healthier community and a healthier region.